What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to
Taste
it.
and color. All tire pressure monitoring systems can be divided into two types depending on the principle of their operation. The first option is the most popular. Such systems use sensors that stand directly in the wheels. The second option is less common and will probably slowly become a thing of the past. It does not have separate sensors, and it works at the expense of sensors of the ABS system. Let's look at both designs in a little more detail. As I said, in the first case, there is a sensor in each wheel that can read the pressure inside the tire and sometimes the temperature. These sensors also come in two types. The first ones are inside the wheel, the second ones are outside. Usually, though, you'll find the internal ones, which are attached to the valve. This is the most popular system today. It has many advantages. The sensors inside the wheel work reliably, and the valve itself serves as an antenna that transmits the signal from each wheel to its own unit. The signal from these sensors is quite confident, so this system rarely glitches. But it has some disadvantages. Firstly, these sensors work as transmitters, and they vitally need batteries. The service life of these batteries is different. On average, they last for 5 to 7 years. And you can't change them. Even the most minor damage to the sensor is fraught with air leakage, so theoretically they are unbreakable. Therefore, as soon as the battery in it runs out, it must be replaced with a new one. Secondly, the replacement process is quite laborious. You have to remove the wheel, disassemble it, replace the sensor, put it all back together and balance it. Sensors that are mounted on the outside are not subject to such disadvantages. They replace the caps on the valves, so replacing the sensor is a matter of seconds. But that's where their advantages over internal sensors end. Firstly, what is easy to put is easy to remove, and this is used by thieves. Secondly, these sensors work in an aggressive environment and fail faster than internal sensors. Thirdly, they have little effect on balancing. They are lighter than internal ones, but because they are in place of even lighter caps, they can change the valve position at high speed. This can lead to air poisoning. And finally, the last one. The principle of operation of the sensor is such that it presses on the spool and locks the air in the tire by itself, not by the spool. And if the sensor goes bad, it starts to let air through. And that's a guaranteed flat tire. The tire pressure monitoring system, which works with ABS sensors, is far from perfect. More precisely, it is not perfect at all. Of course, even the most expensive ABS sensor has no idea what pressure is in the tire. Therefore, the system is only able to monitor with ABS the rotation speed of each wheel and make far-reaching conclusions. If the tire is very flat, it will become a little smaller in diameter, spinning a little faster. And then the pressure control system will start to suspect that something has gone wrong. But not always. On low-profile tires, it may not even notice that the air has escaped from the tire, and with run-flat tires it doesn't work at all. And that's not the worst of it. Worse, the system considers any prolonged change in the rotation speed of a wheel to be a puncture. And this happens to the car in normal life. For example, in a tight corner, when the outer wheel takes a longer arc and rotates faster than the inner wheel. In this case, the pressure control system may think that the tire has lost its breath and give the panel Actung. By the way, since this system does not physically see the pressure, it cannot show it, and in case of what only warns that the pressure has fallen. But the previous one, with separate sensors, is able to show the pressure in each individual wheel. A good system has an important feature. It can warn the driver that a tire is flat on the move. If the tire goes flat, the driver will feel it without any TPMS, but he will not always notice a small puncture. Not only that, on modern front-wheel drive cars you may not notice how the rear wheel got flat at all, and chew up the tire with a disc on the move. TPMS saves you in these situations. And if by yourself? We have an abnormally strong craving for beauty, so almost everyone has a desire to make their car a little better. Of course, there is a question about TPMS. Is it impossible to put something similar into your car? Yes, you can. But let's start with something simpler. The most primitive analog of such a system is on sale, caps on the valves, which change color depending on the pressure in the tire. They cost pennies at all. On the internet I found them for 340 rubles for a set of 4 pieces. Such, with your permission, TPMS to put simply, unscrew the caps from the nipples, screwed on these miracle devices, and all happiness. But not absolute. The main disadvantage is the need to walk around the car and look at the color of these caps. Of course, it is impossible to understand anything while sitting inside the car, even while driving. So, no matter how you look at it, it is a real ersatz, and these things cannot replace a full-fledged TPMS system. Besides, they work on the principle of normal or not and cannot show pressure values. True, there are especially advanced caps, 3-color. In them, the green color indicates normal, yellow, alarm, and red, everything is here. But in any case, the accuracy of these devices is very low, and you should not rely on them. I do not know about all manufacturers, but so far I have not met any perfect products in nature. Maybe, of course, they do exist, but it is not certain. Another disadvantage of smart caps is their weight. At speed, they give too much load on the valve, which is fraught with the same air leaks from the tire. And finally, they almost always stick permanently. Ordinary plastic caps are much easier to unscrew than these aluminum or brass engineering marvels. By the way, these two metals themselves form an electrochemical pair, so if you just need to pump up the wheel, such sensors often have to just cut off and throw away. Okay, at least they cost pennies, not a pity. If you want an inexpensive experiment, you can try it. But it's still not even close to TPMS. And yet, if you wanted to, you could put it in. Almost a full-fledged one. Almost a full-fledged one, because you will have to install the screens separately anyway. The kits that are available for sale always contain the display itself, which also contains the sensor signal receiver and a set of sensors. The sensors are different, internal, on the valves, and external, on the caps. In the first case, everything looks mature, like a standard TPMS system, but with a separate screen. Judging by reviews, some such systems work perfectly well. Their readings are accurate, reliability does not cause any questions. But only the price bites. Kits for $3,000 can show the pressure in the tire, and can, in the ISS module. As luck would have it. More expensive and from a good manufacturer work much more accurately. But they also cost more, from $5,000 or $6,000 to $15,000. Installation, as you understand, is not difficult. Especially with external sensors caps. Screw them on instead of standard caps, stick the screen in the cabin and enjoy life. With internal ones you have to make a lot of trouble. You have to disassemble wheels and change valves. With receivers displays there is a subtlety. Some of them transmit the signal by radio waves and are included simply in the cigarette lighter. Such systems can lose signal from any interference. The most sophisticated TPMS, designed for self-installation, work via Bluetooth and connect with a smartphone. The scheme is working and convenient, although not cheap. What broke? TPMS itself is quite reliable and rarely breaks down. Almost all causes of TPMS failure are related to the lack of signal from the sensors. First of all, dead batteries are to blame. As I said above, it is usually necessary to change not the batteries, but the whole sensors. The second reason for sensor silence is physical damage to the sensor. There is a perception that these sensors are very easy to destroy in a tire shop. This is both true and untrue at the same time. Just look at how they can be broken by a crooked tire changer. It would seem really simple, if not for one, but whether there is a sensor or not, the sequence of work does not change. So the fear of killing the sensor is justified, but exaggerated. A bad tire fitter will equally easily kill both a simple valve and a sensor. So it's better to remember how to pick a good tire shop and only go there. Well, you should not be afraid of TPMS. There is nothing to break there, and if you want, you can install it yourself. The main thing is not to save money and realize that for a penny a normal alternative to the factory system will be available. Sad but true. In conclusion, installing a tire pressure monitoring system can significantly enhance your driving safety and fuel efficiency by ensuring your tires are always properly inflated. However, it's essential to be aware of the potential pitfalls, especially during tire maintenance at the shop, where these systems can be inadvertently damaged. Weighing the benefits against the risks is crucial in deciding whether a TMPS is right for you. Ultimately, staying informed and proactive about your vehicle's health will lead to a safer and more enjoyable driving experience. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.